Oh, so it doesn't die?
Well, no, not necessarily that. They were doubling up on the four-wheelers, so I don't want to have to walk back.
So where's the horseshoe bend?
Oh, it's over on the other side.
On the other side.
We're at one canyon over.
Hold on, let me ask.
Yeah, after this, we're gonna boogie up there. Sunset tonight's at 7:20 or 6:23.
Okay. So what happened to the other group?
Don't know. Yeah, no call,
They
no
didn't
show.
call you?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Delaney
too bad.
called them twice and 5-2. It's like, sorry guys.
But anyway, they pay already, so it's like
yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you're
It
good.
gets me, and if they do rebook, it's a $50 rebooking fee. So it's like, guys, why'd you miss your tour? And it wasn't like it was booked a long time ago. It was booked yesterday, or the day before, or something like that. This is some pretty neat stuff. This is called cryptobiotic soil.
Okay.
Some people do call it resurrection moss or coral of the desert. The reason for that, it's actually closer to a coral than it is a moss. This is a living bacteria colony just like coral. It takes about the same amount of time. It's close to 20 years old, 25-ish.
Oh.
Patches like that up there closer to 100 to 150.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
This is the backbone of our ecosystem though. That is a cool little 360 camera
360
setup. I
camera.
like it.
Yeah,
Nice.
you're here. I hope you don't mind. You'll be on YouTube.
So when you add water to it, this is why they call it resurrection moss.
Turns green.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah?
It turns what?
Green. And then if you get up next
Oh,
to
what?
Oh!
Oh, you got that on video.
and then if you see these little white hairs, if you zoom in with the camera, the best thing I can describe is a sea anemone is what you're looking at.
What is it?
A sea anemone? The little thing clownfish hang out in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
And that's what's crazy. It's just like coral. It's like a little sea polyp. For all intents and purposes, it is coral of the desert.
Let me have my camera.
And what this stuff does
Hold
to
it.
the
Why don't you hold
ecosystem, if you look up right above us, you'll see a half-inch thick layer of soil. It creates a protective shell around the roots, allowing the plant to actually root in.
This one's so healthy.
This one is. Feel free to rub the greenery, just don't put it in your mouth. This one's a natural ipecac. But I personally smell ginger snap cookie dough. Some people smell beef stew.
Oh,
It's got quite an aroma to it. But if you make the mistake and drink it or eat it, within about 15 minutes you're evacuating from both ends. It's a natural diuretic.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a nice prank.
Right? This little guy is something special. This is called the Sacred Deltura. It's in the nightshade family, and it's a cousin to the ayahuasca. It's got hallucinogenic properties to it, so the native tribes use it for ceremonies.
Sweet.
The neat thing is, it has these really pretty white trumpet flowers, which I'm sure you've seen us drive back past quite a few of them.
Notice that.
Oh, I'll point them out on the way out. These trumpets get to be about that big. If you pull them out, there's a liquid that forms around the base of them, and that if you extract that, it helps with eye irritations, skin irritations like rashes, and sore throats. Like, I mean, it's got multiple uses for it, so it's kind of neat in that aspect.
All right, make sure you get some, please.
Yeah.
Make sure you got any creepy crawlies hanging out. I'll point them out to you. So before we go in, this is some neat stuff. This is called lichen. That kind of looks like an algae bloom everywhere. The reason for that, it's a fungus-algae combination. I like it. And what it's doing is it's eating the raw ore of the rock. So right here, you've got copper, calcium, iron, sulfur. This blue stuff is called manganese, and then there's two elements that I'm not quite sure what they are. But the manganese is kind of how you gauge how old the lichen colony is, because lichen in general has two stages of life. Right here, where you can see the very beginning stages, that's called staining. That's about 10 to 20 years worth of growth. You're not really sure what's going to happen there, that's why it's just called staining. And then you've got placking up here where you can start to identify the species. Placking's a minimum of 30 years. So when you get colonies like this right here, it's closer to 50. And then you get this bright blue around 60, and this is closer to 70 to 80 years old. So manganese is kind of the telltale on how old the colony is. But I mentioned that because of right over here. This little patch of dirt, you've got a little bit of placking, a nice healthy layer of crypto, a couple little staining blooms there. So we'll go down there for good measure. That's how much rock has eroded away in the past 20 years. It's a massive amount considering it's supposed to be a rock. But this right here was literally like 2 minutes worth of rain the other day, and you see the aftermath of it.
What is that?
That's,
Take off from that.
that right there is when the little bit of rain that came down, it hit that really fine particulate silt layer, and it turned it into a silt river. And then as soon as that dried, the sun's so hot, it actually baked it from both sides, causing it to be almost like a pottery type material. When you pick it up, it's actually pretty rigid. Mix it with that gray stuff that's out here, that limestone, and it would make actually a really nice pot. But this stuff's so fragile that you can literally take just your fingertip, not even your fingernail, just your fingertip there, and grind it back into sand. It's crazy, right? You're like, man, it's supposed to be a rock, but you can literally push this stuff into nothingness with no time at all.
So those people fingers, right?
So you can
Right.
you can actually make a hole here, like a.
You can spend about 4 hours on this and have a hole as deep as your finger with just your fingertip. See, I mean, that's just me doing that.
Go ahead.
But in exchange, you get these really cool shapes.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm gonna take a video.
Well, we're taking a video already. Oh, picture.
Look at me. Look at me.
This is cool. Oh, there he is. Cool. Oh. We have a little ring neck over here.
Oh, what? Come here. She might get scared. I don't know.
They're not aggressive at all.
If I put this closer, will he run away?
Maybe.
Right.
I was gonna say,
Oh, this is beautiful.
it's a little lizard over here. He's called a ringneck. Well, she's called a ringneck. Sorry, the males have.
He's always there. He's always.
Oh
there.
yeah, this is her home. She's got 2 brothers, one that's missing a tail, and then another one that lives further back. The neat thing is they're family orientated, so you'll get to watch brand new babies hanging out up to about this size right here. About this size, the colors of the males start coming up. The females start to get to a little bit larger than the males, so they chase each other off around this time. But you'll see up to a 2-year-old baby.
So the male looks
hanging out.
better, right?
Well, they do, yes, but the females are a lot bigger. So, in the nature, I think I'd take the bigger.
So you didn't see any rattlesnake here around?
We have 6 different species.
Sweet.
But the thing about that is they're polite. They let you know they're
Oh,
there.
that's nice.
Yeah,
That's what the rattle's for, right?
that's right.
That's why they rattle first.
If a bush or a rock starts to make noise, just go the opposite way. A little butterfly. We'll just get to that lizard. One of the brothers lives over in this area. He's missing his tail.
So they're always here.
Oh yeah. Their dad used to live back here, but I believe he passed this year. Haven't seen him this
He
season.
got the cold.
Yeah, the dad used to live right back here in this corner. And as you can see, the burrow's collapsed in and there's no new tracks over there. Let's see. We may have another one over here sometimes. You over here today? No. So right back here, guys, is how all slot canyons are formed. It's a series of waterfalls that create whirlpools. I see those terms extremely loosely. Just water being pushed around by the wind. And that's what causes these really cool cutout pie shapes. And I am more than happy to take photos if y'all would like to get together. Awesome. You're more than welcome. We'll start out with a small. Oh, that's not what I wanted. No. Modes, panoramic.
Oh, nice.
All right, let's start with that. Starting now.
Should take off my.
Do another one.
Yeah.
Take up your what?
Hold my. There you go.
All right, we'll highlight that blue sky above y'all. That's a good one. Starting now.
That is so cool.
Oh,
Beautiful. Oh my God! It's
All right,
360.
like 270 degree.
Okay, cool. Not too bad.
Nice.
Let's grab a couple regular photos right over here.
Oh, you first, and then me.
Let's go back to camera mode. Camera.
Maybe you can take.
Get both of y'all. Look at that.
Yeah.
Let's get some of that blue sky behind y'all. And oh, that's cool. You got a light adjustment right there on the front of it. Nice.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
More than welcome. That was actually really cool with you kicked off in the background. I like it. Oh,
There you go.
sorry, wrong person. Before we go back, though, These are some pretty neat lines. These are called striations or cross bedding. What we're looking at are ancient wind patterns of Pangea. So go back 300 million years ago, this is what the winds were doing. Of course, on a much more expanded version. This has been under 2,000 foot of water and 1,000 foot of limestone for the better part of 90 million years. Wow. So a lot of pressure. Think of them kind of like tree rings. Yeah. So when it was really wet, the bands are expanded. When it was dry, the bands are tight. This is pretty close to vertical. So think about that being 1,000 years. That's crazy to think. That's a 5,000 to 6,000 year gap where it was either frozen or underwater. Now, there's a 2 foot thick one. Whatever that was definitely a showstopper. Which is crazy to think that this all happened 100 million years before the dinosaurs were the prominent species in this area. Wow. So you're not going to find a lot in the way of fossils, but tons of bacteria in here. And that's what you get that lichen and the crypto and all that stuff. Because it's actually trapped in the rocks.
It's a nice story.
It's kind of neat to be able to see that kind of devastation on a much smaller scale.
That's cool. Happy to take a panorama.
Oh, just yourself?
Yeah.
I'll do a single shot. Freeze. Nice. Alright, what's that? Oh, look at that guy. That's the same guy, right?
Yeah, it is. I was trying to get him to drink, but he wasn't having it. During the hotter parts of the year, they'll actually come right up to you and drink out of the bottles.
Oh, cool.
Which is crazy to have a wild animal just come up to you. We have these little tiny ones that are about this long, and they have little white specks all over them. They're kind of the same color as the rock. Those little guys have no fear.
And what is this?
That is either the lizard I was just talking about's eggs or some kind type of moth. Because there's a moth back there. Yeah. Those guys had like, oh, it's right behind her. It's on the ground flopping around back there. Oh, there's one. Yeah. Those guys have like a 3-day life expectancy.
Oh, that sucks.
I know, right? They come up out of the ground and they die.
Or on your windshield.
That's what they do. Right, or on your windshield. Yeah, he's struggling. It's kind of crazy to watch them because now that I know what their season is, it's now the marking of fall when you see those guys coming up out of the ground. And because right after that starts to get cold. I don't know what I mean, I know it has something to do with the season change. I'm just not quite sure what the stipulations are on it. It's in New York, huh?
Yep.
Very nice. Upstate or city?
City.
I don't blame you on that. Not at all. It's the first
time we're out here, right?
Well, this is the first time I've lived out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
Long Beach, Mississippi. My neighborhood was like 430,000 people. And then I come out here and we have 7,300 people. So I know those numbers are nothing to y'all up there.
It's like one project.
Apartment complex.
Where?
I was going to say, this is a great spot for Sunday.
Oh, with the truck.
Vehicle, the canyon, and then we can boogie up to the top and catch the sunset.